Welcome everybody, my name is Adam Kowalczyk and I'm going to be narrating today's short video on tracking steps and activity, specifically activities for the PE classroom. So we're going to dive right in and just looking at what we want to learn. We really just want to know the basics. How are we going to do it? Is there any equipment that's needed? And good news, there's typically very little to no equipment needed. And some different lessons and activities that you can incorporate into your classroom. Things that are going to get the kids active and engaged and just having a good time. And that's really what we want. We just want to get the kids moving. And this is going to be really a build on from the video of the incorporating math and numbers. So you're going to see a little bit of pair over if you've watched that video as well. So really looking at steps to incorporate, we just have to break down, are we going to be using some sort of a step counter, something that's going to track the kids' steps? Or are they not? With the way technology is nowadays, I think there is definitely more accessibility, but I understand and you understand that not every child is going to have access to that at all times. So we're definitely going to talk about a few different ways that we can do this, and we're just going to balance between having that step counter available, whether it be a class set or something more individual like a student's phone that can maybe track steps at least roughly, and maybe they keep it in their pocket and they'll walk a lap. Not huge on the phones because we know kids are going to get them out and it's going to tempt them. So definitely not the best option, but it is a option if that works for you in your class. So looking at some activities and examples, this is just a very simple. The thing about counting steps and getting the kids moving, it is really this easy and simple. There's nothing extravagant. There's not a lot of setup. There's not a lot of planning required. It's just very easy to do, and we just want to get those kids moving. So this is really outside of the normal. We want the kids in PE to be engaged. We obviously know that, and the kids in your class should be moving quite a bit. This is really adding in where they understand how much they're moving. That's going to be the biggest thing. If they play a tag game and they're running around with a lot of stop and go and pauses, and they did that for 20 minutes, they just know, okay, I was pretty active for 20 minutes. This is a little bit more to the numbers, and hopefully this helps you do that. So really broken down to 4 steps. Step 1, you're just going to have your class walk in a large, and I mean a pretty large circle, not necessarily something you'd make in center court, but maybe around the entire gym or the courtyard. And you're going to have those students walk that circle, and they're going to count the steps that they take. You're also going to have some students, and you maybe just need a few. Obviously, we're going to be estimating, so you hopefully have a student that's kind of average height, average build. You wouldn't want the tallest. Their stride is going to be a lot different maybe than somebody who's very short. But you're going to compare the tracking that those students did to that step counter. So if student A had a fitness watch and it said that they took 500 steps, and the class said, well, I was at 250. Well, obviously somebody is a little off, and you're going to estimate, okay, you probably took more than 250 because we walked around the school. Or I think that you might be more accurate than the fitness tracker, and so it's pretty easy to balance just using a little bit of common sense, and then obviously the space that you're using. You could work in groups, so again, that's going to help you share equipment, so that's something that I do a lot. I've had classes where just 2 or 3 kids had a fitness watch, and we did trying to get your heart rate up. We had to then compare what the person with the heart rate monitors, do they think that that was accurate? Is that somewhat reflective of what we believe the class average would be? So if everybody was around 480 to 520, then the 500 estimate or number from that smartwatch or that phone or the pedometer is probably pretty accurate. So again, as long as you're in that ballpark. Then the next thing you're going to do is you're going to take that same area, same circle, whatever you just did from step 1. Now they're going to run it. So you're still going to compare. You're still going to estimate the steps. Obviously, they're going to be counting a little bit faster in their head because we all know that when you're running, maybe your stride might change a little bit, and so your steps might not be identical. And so it's a great way for the kids to be able to compare and understand that. And you could definitely dive into a lesson with that, but really not needed, especially for what we're doing here. And then the fourth step is just to repeat those for different activities. So maybe a tag game, which you could do it for a minute. Maybe they just need to do some cone drills where you just pick cones or hula hoops, and they just have to run from cone to cone, count how many. And then if they do it for a minute, it would be very easy to then look at, well, I played the tag game for 20 minutes. So if I did this in one, I could just multiply that by 20, and it'll give me a rough estimate. And then you could also compare that rough estimate to somebody that has an equipment, a pedometer, some sort of a step tracker. So again, diving into that short game of tag, and then just really looking at how many steps students took that had the step counter. Look at the average. You could get into a math lesson and talk about the averages. How long did they run? How many steps per minute? So there's a lot that you could do with that data. And again, we're really needing to realize that these are just going to be estimates. It's not going to be perfect, but it's definitely something that the kids could get very, very involved in. And use as a baseline to estimate steps for other things that they're going to do. Well, I walk to school. So how many steps, if I live 2 neighborhoods down and that's about a half a mile, we could again estimate, well, how many steps do you think you take in a mile? And we could cut that number in half and give you a rough estimate of how many steps you take if we're trying to get to 10,000 a day or 12,000 or 5,000. So having these numbers would be really good. And looking at some of the extras of just some different things that you could do, and we'll definitely get another video up, maybe diving into some of these, but just some things that I do and suggestions, having a walking or a running club, maybe a school-wide walk day where everybody takes their class out and they walk, and you could track and chart which grade level did the most or contributed the most amount of steps. Having some outdoor classes. I love to do some walking days, so we do walk and talks, which are really good, especially if the weather's nice. Brain breaks are a great thing, just increasing that movement in class. And again, watching that incorporating PE into the health classroom and vice versa. So there's another video for suggestions if you want to watch that in this YouTube channel as well. Having kids keep activity journals is great. It keeps them accountable. It's something that you could grade if you wanted to. You could do spot checks. Kids can share and provide peer feedback. And at the end, whether you track or don't track, the most important thing is to keep the kids moving. So some of these suggestions were looking at how to really increase maybe some of the numbers and assignments and things that they could do. But at the end, we just really, even if you don't track those brain breaks, just say, we want to do at least 2 or 3 a week where we just get up and get the kids moving, do some stretches, run in place, walk around the classroom, walk around a particular academic hall that you're on. So just different things that get the kids moving is really, really good. So again, here's my contact information. Please reach out with any questions or comments that you might have, and I will definitely respond to you. So thank you so much, everybody. Take care.